Hey folks, so if your research or project that you are working on involves some kind of human-computer interaction, aka HCI, I want you to understand that there are some systematic thumb rules which you are expected to follow in order to get authentic and quality results. So I want to talk about some of these strategies which I personally incorporated in my research which enabled me to get quality data. By incorporating these strategies, my co-authors and I were able to successfully publish our work at the Symposium of Access Control Models and Technologies. But keeping aside the privacy enhancement aspect of this study, which was the very purpose of my research, I want to focus on the HCI side, which was one of the major reasons why this project and research was so successful and it got published. Some of the core HCI principles and goals which are related over here. The very first being participant recruitment and diversity, aka the ethnography. Our study emphasizes the importance of diversity and representativeness across various focus groups, which is a crucial aspect in HCI. It ensures that our findings are generalizable and applicable to a broad user base just like you guys. Second being the user engagement and interface design. We developed a very simple user-friendly interface using the Angular framework. Now, the reason why we decided to walk an extra mile and create this user interface was because we wanted to keep the UI as an independent variable in our research. Now, this highlights one of the core principles of HCI, designing intuitive, simple, and accessible UI for your study. UI should be very straightforward for your participants unless you want to intentionally make it a dependent variable of your research. This allows the participants to follow a very structured participation journey with clear steps and it enhances the overall experience interacting digitally, which is fundamental in HCI. The next being understanding the user's perception and interaction. We focused on understanding the user's perception for privacy policies in our research. Now, this directly ties back to the HCI's goal of studying how users interact and comprehend the digital content. Alright, so let us move towards the tips and tricks, which was the reason why I wanted to create this video. The very first being is that you should ensure that you conduct some kind of a pilot study. Conducting a pilot study is like doing a rough sketch. It helps you obtain some preliminary results and access the data quality before you go on and conduct the full-fledged study. Now, this is a recommended practice. It helps you identify potential issues with your data and helps you refine the design of your study in general. So the next tip is on how do you get the participants. Now you can adopt one kind of recruitment strategy for your pilot study and another kind of strategy for your main full-fledged study. But the point over here is that you have various channels at your disposal. You have email, social media announcements which you can make, the posters which you can put up at your workplace. You are not restricted to use just one kind of channel for participant recruitment. You can use almost all of them all together, all at once, to ensure a wider reach and more diverse participant pool. Offering incentives over here will also boost participation, but on a caution note, I want to say that you need to make sure that you take appropriate pre-recruitment filtration measures to get the cleanest data possible, which is relevant to your study. You can also make use of crowdsourcing platforms such as Clickworker, which I used for my research, or you can use Amazon Mechanical Turk, which will give you access to a wide range of participants. But again, you are very, very prone to collect garbage data when you use these platforms. We faced it, but again, that is the reason why we recommend to conduct some kind of pilot study so that we can identify these vulnerabilities early on and take measures to control them. Next is that you want to ensure that you have a well-balanced demographic in your data. Rigorous pre-screening and demographic balancing are essential for capturing diverse perspectives. When you start reading a lot of research papers, you encounter papers that were not able to achieve a good demographic balance, and this questions their entire validity and their study comes under scrutiny. So we want to ensure that we have a good demographic balance. Next is to have a well-defined, structured participation journey. We don't want to confuse our participants. Divide your study into clear and sequential steps that this enhances the engagement and ensures a systematic flow in your study and the participation process. And following structure in general is very important in research, isn't it? The next is to ensure that you have controlled experimental conditions. I talked about the management of independent and dependent variables. We want to make sure that we contain and isolate our independent and dependent variables well. How we did it in our study by designing our own UI, and make sure that our UI is an independent variable and it does not influence our results. Identifying these elements early on and isolating them, the specific factors which are being under study, leads to more accurate and reliable results. Now, for the very last tip, you want to make sure that you have comprehensive data collection mechanisms. Your data can be quantitative and qualitative based upon your study, but you can also have a fusion of both. It just provides a richer and more nuanced data to contrast with. Following these tips and tricks when you are conducting an HCI study will ensure reliability, validity, and depth in your findings. Thank you so much.